Hi, Kelly. Hi, Lisa. We will be getting started here momentarily. With this being an office hours, we are mostly going to be dependent on what questions you all have, what things you guys need help with. But I'm sure Brendan has come fully prepared with just a presentation for everyone.
Well, that's a lie and you know it, but
That's what I was hoping on, Brendan.
one day. Um, so yeah, I guess we can just start. If anyone has any questions related to their performance measures reports, if there are things you've seen on the report that you're trying to figure out why it's saying that, I can help point in a direction to look.
With the
I was gonna,
applications due this week, we really any questions you have are welcome here. Yeah, feel free. Go ahead, Lisa.
yeah, I was gonna say I had actually planned to have more time before this because I'm like, oh, I want to go ahead and sign up. I may have questions, and then I was supposed to have 2 hours prep before this meeting, and that did not happen.
I know
So,
how that
so
goes.
yeah, so now I'm looking at it again so I can see if there was anything because I still haven't run it myself. That was also my plan for today. So I'm just going to look at it super quick. Hopefully, Kelly or some of the other people on the call have something prepped and ready to go.
All right. Um, I can do another. Do you know what I'll do? I can do a quick EVA demonstration for people, and that can be a tool. Um, so this is kind of a tool that we've been using a lot recently internally, but can really help find data quality errors. So if there's specific things you're looking for, instead of kind of clicking through your APRs and whatnot, this may be a faster way to kind of identify what the errors are and where they're at. Um, in order to get this out of the system, you will run, oh, I'm in the wrong one. So yeah, in order to get this report out of the system, you'll run this CSV export. Um, and at the bottom, there's an option that says hash PII. You'll want to click that. And then other than that, you can just select your organization and what programs it runs for, and then run that export. It might take half hour, 2 hours before that export is ready, depending on just kind of how busy this server is. But once that is done, you can go into EVA. It'll say click here to get started, and you'll take that that zip file that was generated with all the different CSVs, and you'll just attach it here. So these are some that I was playing around with earlier. Um, but what we're going to do now is just kind of pop into the demo mode, which you are free to do as well. This is basically just some fake data that HUD uploaded. I think the really kind of nice thing to start with is like looking at this data quality interface. Um, and what you really want is you can do this export, just the data quality report. And what that is going to do is it will take kind of all the different projects, there's on this page, this guidance will tell you exactly how to go about fixing some of these the errors, and then it'll identify things that are high priority. And these are going to be, this is mostly going to be, so this personal ID here will be that client ID in HMIS, and then it's showing here's what the different issues that it's seeing are. And then, yeah, you can go over to the guidance, look for duplicate entries, just saying that they can't be enrolled in the same projects or the same project at the same time. And once again, all of the client ID is here, the enrollment ID is here. So you can take this report and then just jump straight into client track, type in that ID and get there. In addition to those, there are errors. These are going to be, so most of the stuff that's going to pop up on your data quality will kind of be in these high priority or these errors. But these are more going to be things that are missing, things that aren't possible. So like if the exit date, someone put the wrong year in as they're doing an exit and the person's being discharged in 27 instead of now, it'll flag things like that. And then finally, there's warnings. Same sort of thing. Just this one does kind of mark all your unknowns, which is going to be a data quality error that we are tracking. So if you know you have people who are missing exits, this is kind of a quick way to get that list of who they are. Yeah, same with social security numbers. But like I said, this could be faster. I know it's something new, and maybe right now is not the time to play with new tools. But I think with the APR, it could be a quicker way to kind of ID these issues. Yes, Lisa.
So quick question about the APR metric 4.3, change in total income. When it says total income, is it talking about earned or all income?
Total should be all income.
Okay.
And then
And I
there should
think
be
it,
another one that's earned income.
okay, looks like our number's off then. And for any data errors, I'm going to run my own report as well to make
Mhm.
sure. If there's any issues, I just email you, or did you want it you and somebody else?
So it's kind of on the application itself. There is the ability to kind of if it's an error and it's something that you can correct on your end, go ahead and make those corrections. In the application, there is a place to say, yes, we made corrections to this number, or we have an explanation for why this number is
Okay,
correct, but it doesn't maybe accurately reflect our work. So
gotcha.
things like data timeliness being off because new household member moved in and didn't say anything, or um, yeah, just
Etc.
yeah, there's
Okay,
a million reasons. And so yes,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesse.
In that vein, Brendan, if you stop sharing, I'll share the jot form real quick, just to show that question in here, so that everybody sees it. Again, for project performance, and this is true for each of the measures in the application, but the first question is, did you review it? Because you must review it. The second question is, after you review, did you make any corrections? If you say yes to that, you will be prompted with a text box where you can describe what corrections you made. The HMIS team, specifically Brendan, will review any of those made changes. And if they need to rerun reports to verify information, they will. If you made a change that does not substantively impact the results, It's also good for them to know. And then this question is here regardless of whether or not you made any changes, but it's please provide any necessary context, information, or explanation for your results. Notably, you don't need to tell us what your results are in this circumstance. We've got the results that we sent you, but you need to provide any context around those results if there is context to know. Like Brendan said, if it's a you guys were aware of the issue, it was a staff training issue that's already been resolved, yada yada. If it was some individual unique circumstance, if it was just sheer bad luck with the timing of a report and maybe the child born into the home's social security number was collected the next day outside of the reporting period or something. Those pieces of information are helpful for us to know. But that's how each of the questions is structured within the JOT form is, did you review it? Did you make corrections? If yes, please explain. Regardless, please provide necessary context.
And just a super quick question before Brendan goes back into anything. Um, when we're filling out this application, I know that it can be saved. Is that correct? And then there's a link that will take us back into the application. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. There's a save button. You have to hit it. Don't just exit the page. But if you hit
Yes.
the save button, you'll be emailed a link as long as you have that first email address put in at the very beginning of the job form. Additionally, when you submit it up until Friday at 5 p.m., you are able to go back in and edit the JOT form submission. That will allow you to, like, if you submitted it today and then tomorrow you realize you wanted to explain something differently, or tomorrow you resolved an HMIS data error that you did not resolve prior, you can go back in and edit it.
Perfect. Thanks.
Go ahead, Kelly. Kelly, you'll have to unmute on your end. Kelly, if you're having trouble unmuting, sometimes it helps to leave the call and return, or if you are able to type, you can certainly type a question in the chat if that's easier, whatever your circumstances dictate. While Kelly works to resolve the technical issue there, does anybody else have any other questions, comments, concerns for Brendan? Specifically about your project performance reports, about your system performance, etc., not just in life.
Well, that's not as fun.
You don't want my advice on life things, so
Well, we could at least get a different perspective, maybe.
no, fair enough. Fair enough.
Kelly is typing in the chat, just so you know.
Yeah. And just kind of a reminder to everyone, you can, if you have data corrections or things you're trying to figure out, sorry, I got distracted because the question came through. Do feel free to reach out and email the help desk. And just kind of, my team is going to respond to as many questions as we can in the order that we get them. But if we get flooded with questions on Friday, there's only so much we can get to. So sooner the better. If you have more than one program, so I guess when we scored each program separately with the PPR, but if you're just kind of running it to look for errors, you could do everything together. If you're running it to compare to the PPR and just kind of, am I getting the same numbers? Then you'd want to be running it separately. If you have a project that's merged, I know there's some projects that merged, the grant merged, but they haven't been merged in HMIS. For those, you can select all the projects that were merged into the one and run it for multiple at once to get that correct APR. Did that answer? Okay. Yep. So for a merged program, um, just select all the projects that were merged together and you can run those all together at once. And that's what we did when we were creating the reports.
Additionally, something that we've had asked repeatedly, Brendan, can you touch very, very briefly on the uh, for transition grants? Do you have preference priority recommendations for how they verify their um, project performance, what APR, what PPR, what SPM report they upload to support that they have access to our HMIS and use it for data quality?
Um, I think you know the answer to that better than I do. It's on the report where we're just asking to like kind of acknowledge that you're doing data quality things. If you're doing a transition and we sent you a PPR, attaching that shows you're using the system, you're familiar with it. Same if even if you have you're applying for a new SSO or a street outreach project that's new funding. Um, well, attaching that PPR saying you're in the system already, showing that you have an understanding of what those reports mean and an understanding of what the expectations are and already have some sort of policies or procedures put together to make sure that your data quality is as good as possible.
Right.
And
Can you verify the date periods for the reports?
yes, the date periods are 10/1 of 25. Wait, no, 10/1 of 24 to 9/30 of 25. So I'll even type that out.
Yeah, and while you type that, one other question. This is something that we've had not expressed during this call, but expressed a couple of times by people in different calls and meetings. For providers who see something wrong on their PPR, if they're able to identify it and figure out how to change it, your recommendation is they should make the corrections if it is a factually incorrect thing. They should not change information that reflects the truth, correct?
Correct. I, yeah, when you go in, if you see someone's exit is unknown, and you know what, maybe the day or the day after they left, it was unknown, but as an agency, you have verification or someone has talked to that individual since you have knowledge of where they actually went, you can go back and update that exit destination. But it shouldn't be like, well, we think he might have moved back in with his friend or his brother. Um, unless that was communicated, we want to be as accurate as possible and be making sure we're not just filling stuff in for the sake of filling it in.
Okay, and expanding beyond that a tiny bit. Oh, and Brendan, Kelly asks, the CSV export FY26 is the correct one to run for the process that you were showing for Eva, I believe is what.
Yeah, that is the correct one for Eva. If you're just trying to run the APR, then there is the in that same export bundle, there is the CSV APR FY 2026. And then once that has run, then you can use that APR caper review tool here. Share. So yeah, so you'll be running this one right here if you're just trying to pull an APR in your system. And then once you've done that, this is what allows you to go in and pull it up in a way that makes sense. And then once it's there, anything that's underlined, you can click on and it will then go down to client level as far as these are the clients that we're seeing for
We are
this.
still seeing your list of like exports. If you've shared only your program, nobody can see like drop downs or other pop-up little things. Or if you've shared only that
It's
program.
it's still
Got it. You were just
the
describing. You were
report's
moving the mouse, and
running.
I thought you were indicating
Yeah.
underlined text. We're good.
Nope, I'm just twitchy.
Yes.
Yeah, it just takes a minute. So yeah, so this is one specific and it would be, I'm not going to do it because this is actual client data in here. If you click on any of these numbers, it will then jump in and show you exactly who those individuals are. So if I think someone talked about their income data not looking correct. Now you can jump in and see where that income data is coming from. Are there certain clients that you know are being missed? Is it because exit data wasn't collected? Is it because annual assessments were missed? There just should be multiple ways to kind of find that through these APRs. And then the other report we used was the system performance measures report, which can be found here under HMIS reports. When we did it, we ran this report here, this measure 2 through 7. Let's do like, no, not that. Actually, what I should do. I'm gonna hop into our training environment real quick.
While you get into the training environment, I have one specific thing to bring up about what you just showed with the APR. We had at least one application respond to submit an application stating that information in the PPR was incorrect, but provide no specifics. When no specifics are provided on the application, you are held to the information in the PPR. If you have made any changes in HMIS, you have to inform us what changes were made for us to know to run updated reports. If you did not make any changes in HMIS, but you feel the information is incorrect, that has to be resolved prior to the due date. When the due date happens, if we do not have firm information about what you feel is incorrect or what corrections need to be made or what was showing up atypically for you, we will absolutely not be able to provide any additional points, I don't know, adjustments, whatever. So if you're on this call today and you are one who submitted a response saying this information was incorrect as your only explanation to us, please go back and edit your application to provide more context and information. And if you find anything wrong and don't know how to proceed with it. That's where reaching out to Brendan and the HMIS help desk to find the answer prior to submission is really helpful.
The joy of watching paint dry. Are there any other questions? Are people interested in me kind of jumping into the SPM report and just pointing out the different measures we use for the PPR and giving a little bit of explanation on them?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We had 2 immediate yeses, one in the chat and one on mic. So Brendan, that's a good interest.
I suppose. Um, so I think the performance measures that we looked at for this were returns to homelessness, increase of income, and and exit destination. Or I think for
2, 4,
PSH,
2, 4, and 7, I believe.
yeah, for PSH it would be retention and exit destination. Some of those were labeled incorrectly, but new copies should have gone out. The numbers were correct. It just was the wrong date. So this here is your returns to homelessness. With this report, if you want to drill down and see what's going on, you can do so by like continuing to click on these until it gets down to the client level. And with this, like what it should be showing is, okay, they exited from a project, they exited to permanent, and then they showed back up somewhere. It could be your project, your agency, or it could be any other agency or project within Indiana or within the HMIS. So we also kind of recognize that returns aren't always something that the organizations as a whole can control, but it was something that HUD is focusing on. So if you made corrections on the APR, yeah, if you made corrections on the APR, the SPMs are looking at those same data points. So it might be worth running it again, especially if there were some of those SPMs that you didn't hit threshold on or believe you could increase your score on. And here's where we're getting that earned income. Once again, you'll be able to dial in and see exactly which clients it's saying. And we did both earned income and total income. HUD is primarily concerned this year with earned income, but kind of as a COC in our conversations as we were putting this together, we still value that non-employment and other income as well, especially for our PSH projects. So both are scored.
We've had questions from a number of people about, knowing that earned income piece is not often the path for individuals in long-term permanent supportive housing. And I just want us to acknowledge that we get it. We understand that may be a lower percentage measurement and metric. We tried our best to provide scores across the spectrum for project performance to cover a variety of the aspects here.
Yeah, and what is what I think is nice about those PPR reports is we also, when we ran them, we selected every project that was similar to that project type. So we did all the PSH projects together, we did all the RRH projects, and kind of gave that average score. So it kind of gives you a sense of, you're like, wow, we're not even close to the threshold HUD set for earned income. Well, not a lot of people are, but if you look at what that average is, it gives you a sense of how you did compared to your peers, and that's who you're being ranked against. So it can kind of give you an idea. And we did try and kind of base some of those partial points around what we were actually seeing in the data and those averages. And then the final exits to permanent destinations. So for this, we're looking at 7B.2 for our PSH projects. And that is looking at those who were in a PH project, exited, and remained exited to a positive destination, as well as everyone in your PSH project who remained housed, because both of those are considered successful. It's the only negatives are going to be someone who left PSH to a non-permanent destination. And then for the RRH projects, we did the 7B1, and that is just looking at clients who exited and if they exited to permanent destination or not. And once again, with all of these, you'll be able to drill right in, see what project it's for, see who the clients are, and it should give you a place to look as far as the individual client IDs. Oh, the tool where I could click the numbers to see that. Okay, so for yeah, so for the SPM, it's just you're clicking on these plus and minuses. But the other one was for the APR, and that is going to be once you do an export, you go back up into this. You'll run this CSV APR, and when you run it, I think it's automatically checked. But yeah, you'll need to make sure that this generate validation file is selected. That's basically all the background data that goes into it. And once that's done, you can then go to this APR caper review tool. And it's not showing anything because I'm in testing, but you would use this APR caper review tool, select your project, and then once you've pulled it up, it is kind of all those numbers lined up as an APR that you submit to HUD looks. They will have underlines, and those underlines then will just point you directly to, it says 7, I click on the 7, these are the 7 individuals. And yeah, we do have resources on most of these on our, I think everything I've talked about today, we have resources for on our website. So that APR caper review tool, caper APR export quick reference guide will just be how you're pulling it in the first place. This caper submission correcting common errors, even if it is applicable both to the caper and APR. So if you are seeing something, say look through this first and see if it's one of these common errors, and it should give you guidance on how to go about collecting that or correcting that. And then we did add, so this was that CSV export if you wanted to use EVA. This is how to make sense of that SPM report. That's the one I just kind of quickly went over, how to run that SPM report. And I think, yeah, those are your primary how-to guides that will be useful during this process.
And the link to that the page with all the how-to guides in the chat, if you did not see it, please bookmark that link because it's very helpful this time of year.
All times of year.
Brendan wants you all to read one of these how-to guides nightly before bed.
It will help you fall asleep.
Send you
Promise you
right
that.
to
No.
sleep.
I was just gonna say that.
I'll tell my team that we appreciate the effort they put into these. No. I think, yeah. Do we
Any
have
other
any?
questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, like I said, if you run into stuff, reach out to the help desk. We probably don't have, if the question is, hey, this number looks wrong, why is it wrong? We're not going to be able to dive into that necessarily. But if it's, hey, I see this, the data says something that I don't believe is correct. This is why I don't believe it's correct, but I'm having a hard time fixing or changing it. That's the kind of stuff that we can work with. And the more specific you are in the questions, the less back and forth we have. So putting the client ID, and we have actually a help desk FAQ and this HMIS help desk ticket manual kind of lays out, if you have these report questions, here's the different things that we need to be able to dive in and kind of look at what you're seeing so that we can figure it out as well. The applications are due on the 17th.
That is this Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We are saying this in all of the webinars, but if you try to submit at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Time, the jot form will be closed. You need to submit prior, and I'm really hoping nobody misses it by the skin of their teeth.
That is Eastern for our Evansville and Lake County friends.
All right. Well, hearing no further questions, thank you everybody for attending. Brendan, any last minute additions to say?
Have fun. No. Yeah, like I said, feel free to reach out. And I really do encourage you to use that comment section. If you're like, I know why this happened, could have been, hey, a case manager left and we didn't realize that they weren't doing their job for the last 3 months, or because I mean, I'm sure that hasn't happened to anyone here, but something like that that gives us a sense of, you know, why the data was incorrect. You took steps to correct it as much as possible. And you have like systems in place to prevent it from happening again. That allows us to then kind of, okay, these things weren't out of their control. We'll look at kind of all the other comments and explanations other agencies had, and it's a way to claw back a point here or two there. So
I just want to say thank you guys for your time. I know that this has been hard on you, so I appreciate all the time that you've dedicated to us. So thanks.
yeah, that's what we're here for. So thank you all. Have a good rest of the week.